Yes, I'm very happy to talk slow food. I probably won't talk slow, but because I have a few minutes. But slow food is an international movement of the grassroots. And the TED video we saw before was really exactly stepping into what slow food is doing. It's been founded by an Italian for 20 years ago, when he realized that McDonald's had been planting a shop in Rome by the Spanish Steps. And that was most crime you could think of in the Italian city. So, slow food, if I have to say a few words about it, I would say 3 words are describing it: good, clean, and fair. It takes less than 1 minute. I could just walk away, but I won't. So because when you think about good, then you have to think about the food we're eating. The food we are eating, we are the generation which has been fed with sweets, colas, French fries, hamburgers. It's not only the fact that it's fast food, it's the fact that we have nearly 3 tastes left. We have the sweet, the salt, and the fat. That makes us happy. Do you think it's enough? No, I don't think so. So we've lost a lot of a lot of connection with the food we are eating. We don't know what's on our plate, and we don't know. It maybe tastes good, but we don't know if it's really good. So that's why I'm taking these pictures. When you think about salt, you could think about industry salt. Industry salt, since, well, you know what happened here in Iceland, but in industry salt, it was sold as the salt to use in the food industry. Food industry, industry salt, it's okay. And then you have, by the side, you have a small company producing salt by using the geothermy in the Western Fjord and making the best salt for the moment, you could say, in the world. We've tasted it. So that's one thing we have to make a difference in between. And then, same thing, when you are talking good food. Food is the real thing we do need to live. It's not more complicated than that. And we don't know what's on our plate, so think about what's in a yogurt. For example, this bio yogurt, which is organic, or of the fruits which are organic, have been sold on the main Lækjartorg in Reykjavik. That makes a difference. He was talking about the apples, which is the most pesticided fruit you could find. You have a solution. And you have as well a solution about, for example, cheese. Old races of animal, they are producing the milk, for example, that is tasty, that is not blended, that has nothing more than the milk itself and the proteins. And you find it everywhere. The raw milk, for example, which makes every single person in Iceland jumping around, the raw milk is used in Norway, and the taste of the cheese made out of raw milk is completely different. So that's for the part of being good. And when you think of, in fact, these small producers and the food they are sending from them, then you think, well, okay, it's elitism. It's only for a few, for the happy few, for the rich few. No. Carlo Petrini, the one who founded Slow Food, says very simply that it's a pure human right to have access to good food. Why should we eat shit? There is no reason for it. The only reason is that you have to produce on an industry basis the food with all kinds of extra things in it which are not food. So eating good food should never be a privilege of the few. It should be a human right. And it has to be tasty. And the fact of looking into that kind of food on your dish, it's not only what you have in your dish, but it's as well everything which is behind, which is, for example, the biodiversity. When you have 10 races of goats or cows, then you have the possibility of having really many tastes. And you go into the fact that you are responsible as well because of the food you are eating, of the food you are buying. It supports either the industry or it supports the farmers and the small producers. And sustainability, which is the only key to our survival for near future, you find it in the fact that you make a circle with what you need from the earth and you give back to the earth. So that was for the part of good. And clean is obvious. If this picture, I took it's from France, it's from Bretagne, the western part of France. And there you have such an intensive pig growing that everything is going into the sea, and that's the shore, which was for tourists not so many years ago. Maybe we don't want to see that today. So chickens, about the same. Chickens which are completely unethically grown up in these sheds where you have about one piece of paper to grow on, and they don't support it. That's how they were. Then, thinking of GMOs, it's very discussed, but GMOs, no, consumers have been asking for it. It's not for the benefit of the consumer. I won't go into that now. Thinking of clean, you remember that, don't we? The meat pie without meat. And it's exactly where it goes to when the pressure comes from the buyers of the large shopping centers to have the cheapest food you can get. Of course, he couldn't afford to buy the meat, so he put some soya inside. That's not more difficult than that. And take another example, the bees. The bees all over the world, especially in the Western world, are now dying because of pollution. So I'll just go very quickly over, and thinking of the soil, I won't go into that because he talked about it in the video, but I think if we think of what Vandana Shiva has been talking about, that calling the soil, calling it dirt, you go the wrong way. Just drop that. And the last part is being fair. When you have in your pocket, you have an iPhone, which is what, 60,000, 70, 80,000 kroner. You buy a hamburger at 500 kroner. You don't eat it. It doesn't matter. So you have a price ticket on the hamburger, which is completely out of connection with anything. And this part is what is produced in Iceland in a clean way, in a produce way. Then the skyr, and you have the corn, which is done. And from the consumer to the producer, you have a path that should be the closest possible, and that's how it works, instead of going through a lot of intermediaries which are taking that part on the way. So I want to finish on that cheap food is an expensive illusion. That doesn't take the environment in it, it doesn't take either the health problem coming out of it. So the consumer should be a co-producer because we vote with our money. And we can do it. We can do it. We can nurture biodiversity. We can look out for the carbon print of the food we're eating. And agroecology is the part which is coming and which we have to work with, not all the industrial part of it. And I just would say, join us. We are here. Thank you.